Well, temperatures are expected to rev up to as much as 33 degrees Celsius in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. But this morning, it's a cool 27 degrees Celsius. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily, your daily dose of sunshine. I'm Maupe Oguyusuf.
Well, it's 27 degrees in Lagos as well at this time. Good morning and welcome. I'm Ayo Makinde. Today is Wednesday. It's the 12th day in the month of November 2025. And one of the, well, aside of all of the other issues that are happening in the country, you know, many times, Maupe, when we are looking at the trending issues, we do not remember sometimes that there are other underlying issues, such as the one that we, discussed yesterday, we talked about yesterday, about, well, not on the program, about locally assembled or locally made vehicles, whether or not we should be patronizing them, how we should be operationalizing that, Maupe. That is one of the things that I consider worrying, isn't it?
Indeed, Ayo. Well, we did see that matter on Twitter yesterday. Well, now it's now X. I don't know why I can't get it in my head that it is now X. And I think a user had raised a particular issue saying that, I think an oil company wanted to patronize made in Nigeria vehicles. I'm trying to see if I can quickly draw up that particular tweet for us. But, it would appear that a bank, a Nigerian bank, was said to have told that particular customer who wanted to patronize made in Nigerian vehicles that that particular brand was not recognized among their made in Nigeria vehicles and advised that particular customer to buy imported vehicles instead, because sometimes these vehicles are also categorized as made in Nigeria. I do know that that particular matter got sufficient traction on social media yesterday, and I think that, it is something that if the Ministry of Trade and Investment hasn't taken a look at it, let's see if we can quickly draw up the name of the user who brought that to our attention, or who brought that to the attention of the public, because we know that right now the public has been interested in a separate matter which came up here in Abuja. But this particular matter is also quite important. I think this was a matter raised by, his name is, just a moment, Ajayi Oluwatobi. That is the name of the user who brought up this particular matter. He says a business owner in the oil and gas sector approached us that he would like to buy 2 units of the Nord Motion Max pickup for his company. Apparently, he was impressed with the vehicle after some rides with his peers in the sector. To my shock, yesterday, my team told me that a bank operating in Nigeria told him that they do not finance made in Nigeria vehicles, and they even suggested to our customer that he should go for foreign brands instead. The most provocative part of this is that all of the brands they suggested to him identified as made in Nigeria brands in their filings with the Bureau of Public Procurement, which means they decide who they want to be whenever it suits them. This is yet another example of the needless sabotage and institutional bias against Nigerian manufacturers and assemblers that we experience in this sector. The president aims to grow us into a $1 trillion economy. Nigerians want to buy made in Nigeria products. We're working very hard to produce world-class vehicles, but some banks who should play the role of credit facilitators are displaying open prejudice against locally made vehicles. What sort of economic sabotage is this? Well, that tweet went on and eventually got a lot of reactions. As a matter of fact, got over 500,000 views alone, and a lot of responses as well. And I think some users also drew the attention of the Ministry of Trade and Investment. Eventually, I think the bank in question was also named. I want to believe that the bank in question would have seen that tweet by now, and we should be getting a response of sorts to know whether or not this is true, and this is the policy of their bank, not to support made in Nigeria vehicles. But Ayo, why will I delve deeper into that particular issue another day? we have a matter at hand which came up yesterday, and I'm sure that the public has been weighing in on this. This matter came up between the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, who went on an enforcement drive yesterday with his team, and it doesn't appear that that went down well. But this is the altercation which a lot of Nigerians have now seen.
I'm an offside, take to order.
So what? You had a who? Damn me.
I'm an offside, take to order.
To order that you take it.
Mr. General.
Okay. You can never develop this property. I will not allow it.
No problem, sir.
I'm
only acting on my orders.
If you want to kill everybody, kill everybody.
We will not kill
you
anybody,
cannot.
Sir. We will not. We will not kill anybody, sir.
You put yourself in trouble.
We will not.
My friend, you see, don't shut me up.
You are my senior. You cannot even talk when I'm talking.
Hey, you are taking with us. You don't have any.
I'm not to carry security to you are a primary school.
I'm acting on orders.
Which order? You see whether you love me here.
Sir, you can't call me a fool.
I'm an
officer. I'm not a fool, sir. I'm an officer.
You will have killed everybody here.
No, we won't kill anybody. We won't kill anybody.
Well, that was when the altercation eventually got to a head, and that particular, altercation has now received a lot of reactions from Nigerians. But something led to something, and we also saw that there are many layers if we're to deconstruct it. But we'll get to it shortly. The Nigerian Army, or the Ministry of Defense, or Defense Headquarters, they yet to issue an official response to what transpired yesterday, and we're unsure whether or not they will issue one, because we understand that the parcel of land in question belongs to a retired Chief of Naval Staff. I mean, at least that's what we were able to gather from that conversation. However, if this post on their Instagram page is anything to go by, here is what they also posted. Okay, well, I understand that that will come to us much later, but we have in our studios this morning Mr. Larry Olayinka, who is the Senior Special Assistant, Publicity and Communications, the FCT Minister, who was also there on the trip with the Minister yesterday to give us an account of what transpired. How did we get to that sorry pass yesterday, Mr. Olayinka? Good morning.
Good morning, my friend. See, we got to that sorry pass yesterday because of the way we operate in this country. No, zero attitude to compliance. That is what we are, and it is painful. I saw the military, the army officer yesterday telling us that he was acting on an order, and I've also read online that a military man should obey the last order and order. And I've asked myself, which order? Like the minister also asked yesterday, you obey order, yes. But that order has to be lawful. The order has to be reasonable. For instance, if I am a military officer and my superior give me an order to go and shoot somebody, or let's say my boss give me an order to go and let me use this last, sorry for use this word, rape my daughter, will I obey the order because the order is coming from my superior? Or somebody, because somebody is dragging a girlfriend with my superior, and that superior now see the person dragging girlfriend with him walking on the street, and he say, hey, shoot this person. Because it is an order, I should obey it. Because it is an order, a military men should go and mount guard in a public building under construction. That is the issue here. Building under construction. Military men have to be sent to go and mount guard. Military men that was posted to the former Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awad Gambo, as his personal security details to secure him, to guard him, to protect him. He now chooses to make himself vulnerable and send those people on an errand. It's like somebody now here. I have security details to protect me here. And I now choose to send them to Gwagwalada to go and be protecting my property that is under construction. I don't seem to get it. Now let's go back to how we got to that level. That particular land was allocated to a company in 2007, Santos Estate Limited, for park and recreation. Let me say this again. Allocated in 2007 for park and recreation. The company did not do anything on the land because that place is a parkway, it's a walkway, it's a road corridor. You don't build there. Then in 2022, the company wrote to the FCTA, the minister, oh, I want approval from you to convert the purpose to commercial. From park to build park. You know what park is and recreation, not permanent structures. Probably in anticipation of the minister's approval for conversion, the man decided to partition the land, a land allocated to him for park and recreation. He now partitioned the land and sold to people, including the former Chief of Naval Staff. And that is why I want to say here that the former Chief of Naval Staff was scammed. He was scammed. And he has realized that he was scammed. Instead of him to now come out and seek help, he resorted to use military might. Now, in 2022, the Minister of FCT declined that request, did not grant the request for change of land use made by that company. That was where it ended. But he had already sold the land to people, probably giving them impression that the land use will change. Wike was not the minister then.
In 2022,
2022, Wike was not the minister. Now, after selling land allocated to you for park and recreation, for people to build house, who should the former Chief of Naval Staff go and hold? The person who scammed him or the government? He chose not to hold the person who scammed him, the company who scammed him. Now again, that particular portion has now been redesignated for the purpose of, if you know Abuja very well, you know how Babushi is. That is where you have Ministry of Works, Environment. That portion of the land, that parkway, is for public buildings and corporate buildings, not residential. Meaning that you cannot build residential house there. That is one. So as of today, Vice Admiral Gambo does not have a document, a title document, showing that he owns the land. He does not own the land. Now, assuming we're not considering that he has title documents and he owns the land, before you begin development of a land, there are processes you must pass through. One of such processes is to have a building plan. Building plan showing what you want to put on the land. And you take your building plan to the development control. See, you take your building plan to development control. The question Nigerians should ask Vice Admiral Gambo is, did he take his building plan on that land to development control, and the development control approve the building plan? So this is the letter with which the land was allocated to Santos Estate in 2007 for park. If you zoom your camera, you see that it is for park and recreation. This is the layout on the land. It is clearly stated. See, proposed parkway. You can look at it.
All right.
This is the letter. You can look at it.
Okay, so the thing for a lot of people is that whilst, the FCTA might or does have jurisdiction over that portion of land, I think for a number of people, it is how they have gone about enforcing the right of the FCTA to what it is that they have said
Let me also go further. The director of development, the director of the Department of Development Control, Tamplana Mukhtar Galadima, went to the place by himself and informed them that this land is like this your guy. He told this particular mayor officer yesterday that was misbehaving yesterday that it appears that your guy has been scammed though. Tell your guy to go and see minister so that they can see how to resolve this issue, because this land that he has bought, he bought a wrong land. He sent SMS messages to this particular officer, no response. Then officials of the Department of the Development Control went to the place to serve him letter to stop work. They did not allow them to get to the land. The military men stopped them. When they went there 2 days ago, they threatened that if they get close to the land, they will be shot. That was what happened. And the director came yesterday to report back to the minister. I mean, normally, when you send somebody on an assignment, there must be a report. He came back and he told the minister, where we went to, this and this and this happened. And the minister was like, what an effrontery. So the minister now said, okay, maybe these people that are even coming to give me report. Because in most cases, you see government officials sitting in their offices, getting reports and acting on them. But the minister chose not to do that. He said, okay, maybe these people are even lying to me. They are not telling me the truth. Let me go there and see the place by myself. That was what the minister went there to do yesterday for an on-the-spot assessment. He went there with the commissioner of police, FCT commissioner of police. Policemen that came with the FCT commissioner of police were there. The ones that came with the minister were there. Before we got there, they have already used a vehicle, a logs, to block the road. That road does not lead to that land alone. It leads to other land. But they block the road. They block the road that nobody will be allowed to get to this land. What an effrontery. Land that does not belong to the man. And I feel so it is appalling that somebody of the level of the status of a former chief of naval staff who's supposed to be like a moral compass for the society choose to act like that. Because the question is, you say he must obey order. So clearly, is it the right?
Just a moment, yes. Mr. Olayinka. So it clearly, from the get-go, you could see that things were could degenerate, given the fact that the road first of all was blocked. Now there are those who say that at that point is when the minister should have chosen to act through an institution and perhaps had turned back.
Through an institution?
Yes.
2 weeks ago, the director of security of the FCT wrote to the defense people, defense headquarters. He wrote a letter to the defense on this matter 2 weeks ago.
And the defense headquarters?
No response up to now. The informal response he got was that since the man is no longer in service, his matter cannot be handled by the defense headquarters. So when people say that no step was taken, yesterday the minister called the chief of defense staff before he left his office. He called him and he told him, when he got to that place, the portion there at the site, the minister also called the chief of defense staff. You see from the video that he gave his phone to that unruly officer.
You call him unruly?
Yes, because
but he says,
I'm coming because he was unruly. He gave the phone to him. See, as I'm here like this, I'm a Yoruba person. I'm from Ekiti. We respect authority, we respect elder. If my phone ring now and the person call and say, good evening, good morning, my name is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do you think I'll be sitting on this chair answering that call? I won't. I will stand up.
Yeah, but that is you.
But, yes.
That is your cultural...
The minister gave him phone to talk to the CDS. And I saw the way there was no sign that this person was even talking to the CDS. He was normal. Talking to this chief of defense staff. And I saw arrogance. Yesterday, that person, that fellow, that officer was referring to policemen, fellow uniformed men, as bloody policemen. You can't talk to me like that. I am a commissioned officer. You can't talk to me. I am a commissioned officer. You bloody policeman. And the policeman also got angry. How can you, a uniformed man, be ridiculing your fellow uniformed people?
I'll just say, to our viewers, because we were unable to show the full length of the video owing to time, and also some things that were said there, we're not allowed to play them according to NBC codes. Let us drill down on that, because clearly, when you watch the full length of the video, the minister lost his temper at some point. And he called the officer a name that he ought not to have called the officer.
Anybody, any human being, even me, I lost my temper. See, if you were there yesterday, you will lose your temper. We are in this country. You see, one of the things that our military men should begin to also understand is that we are no longer under another military rule. Military is subjected to civil authorities, civil laws. You cannot, because you are a military officer, I go about, you see building, they will put military song, keep off. It is wrong. So what I'm saying is this.
So you justify what was...
Wait, the minister tried to calm people. If you listen very well, the policemen or the civil defense also got angry. They were reacting. The DSS, the DSS, one of the security details of the minister, DSS officer, one of the soldiers was standing in front of the minister holding gun, and the DSS one had to tell him, how can you stand before the minister and you are pointing gun at him? You want to shoot him? And they were like, that is where I have to stand here. It will get to a level, we are all human beings. It will get to a level when somebody that you feel that should reason, that should operate, you have a level of moral, you have a level of moral, but you don't begin to act like that. I was there. As a human being, I also got pissed off. And I asked myself, is this the kind of country we want to continue to run? That because you are wearing uniform, you are now above everybody. Because you are wearing uniform, you can now turn yourself to security guard and be guarding private property, buildings under construction, and you are telling us that you are obeying law, you are obeying order. Does that mean that if your guy is a poultry farmer, he can also send you to go and be guarding fowl?
Mr. Olayinka, I'm going to read, because since yesterday there have been quite a number of reactions to what transpired yesterday, rightly or wrongly. I'm going to read that of a former minister of aviation, Osita Chidoka. He wrote that Minister Nyesom Wike's decision to personally enforce a directive at a disputed site was a fundamental misstep. In constitutional democracies, power operates through institutions, not impulse. Executive authority must be exercised or adjudicated through the courts, ministries, and lawful instruments of state, never through confrontation. No matter how justified a grievance, a minister cannot become an enforcer that violates the very idea of ordered government. this is one of the reactions, and he was a minister. I do not know if you agree with it. But we've also seen the reaction of the former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, who also thinks that this is a security breach. I'm going to read what it is that he also said. I do not know whether you've seen some of these reactions. He said that the minister's conduct during the exchange transcends mere misconduct and undermines the authority of the commander-in-chief and the integrity of the armed forces. These are some of the things that they're now beginning to say, because they believe that the minister ought to have recognized that he is a commissioned officer in uniform, and maybe at that point ought to have withdrawn. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let me first of all react to the statement by the former Chief of Army Staff, Tukur Buratai. See, when I read that statement coming from him, I was like...
Oh, you've seen it?
I've read it. I read it. I saw it yesterday. And I was like, the former Chief of Army Staff is more concerned about talking to a uniformed man. He's not concerned about somebody, uniformed military men, who should be at the war front, naval officer, who should be at the Chad Basin, confronting terrorists, being converted to private guards, guarding uncompleted building. Which one is a security threat to Nigeria? Between soldiers trained to defend Nigeria, now be converted to security guard, may guard, let me use the word, may guard.
That's very disrespectful of our military, Mr. Olayinka. And we do know that military men also safeguard property.
That's exactly what they went to do. Uncompleted building. You see, you can safeguard property. You don't, where people are living there, no property under construction. You are protecting property under construction. Instead of you to be in Bono,
they can protect property under construction.
And a former chief of
some people will say they can defend that. I mean, they can protect that if it is within their jurisdiction to do so.
You can protect property if it poses security threat to Nigerians. It does. That property, what security threat does it pose to you and I? It doesn't pose any security threat. And a former chief of army staff is more concerned about a military officer who went to do unlawful duty, because all others are not lawful.
All right, let's take a. Let me let my colleague come in now. We'll extend this matter for a few more minutes, and then we will be going to another matter. Because the PDP is also planning to host their convention at the end of this week, yes, at this weekend, 15th and 16th, and there have been judicial pronouncements to that effect. Some saying that that particular convention should go on, others saying that that convention shouldn't go ahead. We'll be delving into that matter shortly, but let Ayo quickly come into this conversation before we go there. Ayo.
Well, thank you, Mokwe, and maybe by that time we'll be bringing in our other guests. But I've also seen a comment coming from retired Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, who says in part that this recent standoff between a minister and a junior military officer reveals how fragile civil military etiquette becomes when emotion replaces protocol. Well, this speaks to what you said the other time, Mr. Olayinka, that anyone could get upset, anyone would lose their temper. While it is the right of every one of us to lose our temper, it is also, could have been, or rather, it could have been the right of the military officer himself to also lose his temper. And, you know, what can you say to the part where this group captain says emotion seems to have breached protocol?
Well, like you said, two officers, a minister who has the right to all lands in the FCT, and a military officer who was assigned to protect a private property, illegal illegal operation. That is what is called. In this country, we know that FCT land is vested in the president.
Stand all of that. Just a second, Mr. Olayinka. It's not the substance of the issue really here, because what is attracting attention is not the substance. It's the how. And you didn't answer that question when Markwe asked that this is not... Just a second. It's not a question of what, whether or not the ministry was right. I mean, you have detailed all of that. It is absolutely correct. However, it is the how. Because if the minister, and rightly so, was representing the President of the Federal Republic and Commander-in-Chief, he doesn't carry the authority of the President and Commander-in-Chief at that point. So I'm wondering if you think the how justified his action there.
What I've said to you here is, one, the minister went to that place for an on-the-spot assessment. The road was blocked. He had to trek to the place. He was addressing a junior military officer. And the junior military officer chose to disrespect everybody, including the other police, other security agents that were.
But he made a statement, Mr. Olayinka. Just a second. He made a statement. He said, I am following orders. Just a second, Mr. Olayinka. It is something you also know. You're in the media like us. He said, I am a military officer. I am following orders. Based on that alone, I mean, it shouldn't have been understood. I know that it is possible for, the FCT minister to pick a phone and call the fellow in question. I mean, you already said it, that this is not a new case. It's something that has been on for a while. I'm pretty sure that the name of the purported owner of this land would be known to the minister, and he could easily have reached him. Some people are wondering whether or not this couldn't have been handled better than it was.
But I also mentioned here that even at the spot, the minister called the Chief of Defense Staff. I also mentioned here the way, the attitude, the way the officer responded to the Chief of Defense Staff. I have also said there that even at the spot, the minister called the Chief of Naval Staff. Before going to the place, he called the Chief of Defense Staff. You see, I have said it here that you mentioned emotion, and I've said we are all human beings. If you were there yesterday, you will also get angry. Even me, that I was not the minister, I got pissed off. I got pissed off, and I got pissed off not because of not against the military officer, but pissed off about what kind of system is this? Okay. What kind of system will we allow a former chief of naval staff to deploy his security details to carry out illegal duties?
Okay. Well, there are other issues, as Markwe has mentioned, and just before we take that, there was something that Markwe called for earlier, a post on the Instagram page of the Defense Headquarters, and, well, some might call it whether it is cryptic or not, but if we can take a look at that post right now, Femi, that this is what, the Defense Headquarters has put on, just before we segue into that conversation. And the post of the military was really simple, and they were saying something, very, very simple, unbroken, unshaken. It's an honor, the post says, to serve in the military, in the Nigerian military, unshaken, unbent, unbroken. That's all the post says, and I hope that we'll be able to see it all. That's it right there on your screen. It is an honor to serve in the Nigerian military, unshaken, unbent, unbroken. Whether this has anything to do with the conversation we've been having or not, I guess we'll see in good time. But then we will shortly be joined by Mr. Tony Ahilebo, who is a member of the PDP. But Mr. Olayinka, let me start that conversation with you as well. Now, there are those who are wondering, the internal wranglings of the PDP is legendary, if one can put it that way. It's been on for quite a while. And your the minister, the FCT minister, your upline, has said that he is going to remain in the PDP, and he remains in the PDP, despite all of the internal wranglings, and he continues to oppose those who are supposedly leaders of the party. So there are questions as to whether or not he really wants to belong to the PDP to build it, or wants to remain in the PDP to make sure it cripples to the APC.
Well, the minister has, like you said, has continually maintained that he remains in PDP. I said continually maintained that he remains in PDP. I said it here the last time I was here. I asked this question. Everything the minister had complained about, every of his position about PDP, which of them has the party not come back to accept? When he came up with the issue of Damagu, that Damagu should rightfully be made the PDP chairman, these same people said no at the end of the day. Did they not come back to make Damagu chairman? Came up with the issue of the national secretary, that they brought one person from Enugu to come and be national secretary. Everybody, the other people that I'm talking about, also said no, that Wike was doing it because he was against the party, because he was against this and that. Supreme Court gave judgment. The party refused to obey it. At the end of the day, what did the party come back to agree on? The same position of Wike. See, you can hate Wike, you can hate me, Lere Olayenka, but can you hate the position of the constitution of your party? Because we always talk about it is internal affairs. Internal affairs, yes, but you must operate in accordance with your constitution. Look at the case of yesterday, in which another was given to restrain the party from going ahead with the national convention. You want to hold national convention, and you have some positions to the north. PDP does not show position to north central, northeast, northwest, or south, southwest, southeast. PDP only do north and south zoning. And a former governor, one of the founding fathers of the PDP, Alhaji Sule Lamido, paid to obtain nomination form to contest for national chairman. After paying, they refused to release nomination form to him. Did Wike cause that one? Is it part of the law function of the PDP to refuse to release nomination form to people who have paid? Even if you have position, even if you have somebody that you want, it has always happened in the past. You should allow people to freely express their right to contest. But this convention they are talking about, most leaders of the PDP don't even know where the nomination forms are. They don't even know where to get nomination form. The National Organizing Secretary of the PDP is in charge of convention, congresses. Up to today, the National Organizing Secretary does not know who are the people even contesting. These are the issues. As of today, Congress has not been concluded in more than 10 states. As of today, in the Southeast, the person they are presenting as Southeast chairman, Ali Odefa, was suspended from the party. The court affirmed his suspension, his expulsion from the party. That is, legally, he is not a member of PDP. And you are calling him the national vice chairman of the PDP Southeast. By virtue of that alone, if you hold the convention and Ali Odefa participates in the convention starts, whatever outcome of the convention stands nullified. These are the issues Wike is talking about.
All right, Mr. Olayenka, just let's take a moment. Let's take a moment, because there are other perspectives definitely to this conversation. But we'll be right back for more when we return from this break. Stay with us.
Well, we've we've since been joined by our second guest to provide another perspective on the PDP upcoming convention. Mr. Tony Ehilebo is a member of the People's Democratic Party, and we're seeing this controversy. I'm looking at the front page of Daily Trust here, and your party is saying very clearly, no going back on convention. Do you stand with this?
Yes, very much. Thank you. Good morning, Malpe. Good morning to Larry, my brother, who I'm not really sure whether he's still in the PDP, even though he says he is. But I have one admonition for Larry. Larry, you're an aide to the FCT minister. And sometimes our roles as people who advise people in such places is to always think for them if they're emotional in a situation. Larry, the FCT minister is my governor. He is the one that is in charge of my welfare in the FCT. I wasn't pleased yesterday that he put himself in danger, even though watching those videos, the FCT minister was the most sensible there, always cautioning his DSS officers. Because what I saw there yesterday, it could have resulted in accidental discharge. There could have been loss of lives yesterday. And beyond everything you have said, Larry, nobody talked about the security and safety of Nigerians. And the first thing you do when you see an American military personnel is to tell them, thank you for your service. I think that guy was legitimately following orders. And it doesn't behove of any civilian to tell someone who has been programmed to listen to nothing other than the orders he's given how to perform. The FCT minister is also a lawyer and should understand that enforcement of anything he wants to do goes through a channel. He cannot even go slow moto. He needs a court order, and he needs court bailiffs. Not even his own personal aides from the FCDA. Court bailiffs to enforce that order. So we have to, sometimes step back and think of public safety first. If something had happened to the FCT minister, let me tell you what will happen, how my life will be affected. There are many things I want in the FCT. Before we, either if he's shot or anything had happened to him, start treating him, it will take a while, and I would have lost that opportunity. So it's important that we always think of safeguarding those who hold offices that affect our lives. And that was the most important thing for me, public safety.
All right, Tony.
So let's deal with PDP.
PDP, yeah.
Professor Chidi Kalu has been writing very vigorously in the last couple of days, and he alludes in one of his write-ups the magical nature of which certain judges get cases from our minister or related to him. First of all was the non-disciplinary judgment given by Justice Omotosho. Same Omotosho gave the judgment stopping the PDP convention. Two things are very clear. I have seen the three judgments from three concurrent jurisdictions. The State High Court and the Federal High Court have concurrent jurisdiction, so their orders are all valid. And in the legal profession, once a judgment is given, until when an order setting it aside from a higher court, that's when it's. So we don't have any orders from any higher courts as we speak today. So the PDP, going by a contestant domiciled in Oyo State, who had approached the courts to enforce his own rights, as it were, and he got judgment which said, PDP, go on with your convention. I have reviewed your processes, and I think you should go on with it. There's also a contradictory judgment from Justice Omotosho, who says, you have not finished all the requirements to hold your convention. Don't hold your convention. There's another one yesterday from Justice Lifu. It's funny that the judges giving these judgments have been named or accused or alleged to be judges that give favorably or with one magical, or according to Professor Chidi Kalu, inexplicable physics or legal magic that means that every case related to the FCT minister or anything close to him goes to these particular judges. We cannot, I'm a practicing lawyer, we cannot continue to sit by and see where we feed being diminished in terms of the perception of Nigerians. We have to be careful. Nigerians are watching. investors are watching.
Yeah.
I'll go to PDP and where it concerns the survival of democracy in this country.
Because you've spoken about, courts of concurrent jurisdiction.
Yes.
That's correct, all of them. And then you also spoke about Justice Lifu's order. I mean, Justice Omotosho, and of course, what happened in the State High Court in Ibadan.
Yes.
There too. I think I also listened to former Governor Ayo Fayose yesterday, speaking about the justice, the word they use now, the chief judge of the Oyo State Judiciary.
Yes.
And he did not have very complimentary words for the chief judge. But let me go to Justice Lifu's order, which is based on a different suit entirely. We saw how on the last day, the last day of the purchase of forms or the submission of forms, we saw former Governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, who sought to purchase forms on that day, and we're told that no form was sold to him. He did his own press conference. The PDP also responded. And then we saw that he said he was going to go to court, and he went to court. And Justice Lifu's order was based on that. It came on the suit filed by the national chairmanship aspirant and former Jigawa State Governor, who sought an interim injunction restraining the PDP from conducting the convention pending the hearing of his substantive motion, which is the argument that the process violated, he was denied the opportunity to buy a form, and the process violated his rights and the party's constitution. So it would appear that even though they are all courts of concurrent jurisdiction, the matters before their lordships are separate.
Okay, so I don't want to go into the matters directly. I want to try and give you a context. And I did this because I gave your producer something I hope he puts on screen, which is the published, and that's the substance of the matter of the distinguished former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, who I think I have a lot of respect for. If you look at the timetable on your screen, it is very clear when the closure for the sale of forms ends. It is there for everybody to see. So, I hope that when this goes on appeal or when the substantive matter is heard and these facts are put before the judge, it's sort of gives him a perspective that the case brought before him is actually a waste of judicial time. Because first things first, you will know the Supreme Court has held several times that the affairs of a political party remain the affairs of this political party. And this political party had given a timetable. If you scroll down, there's one that has the particular closure of forms, and that's at the end of September. When did Sule Lamido go to purchase the form? 2 weeks into October. Long after the forms had, in fact, they had even published...
Was this public knowledge? Because part of the argument was that this was not in the public domain.
I had this timetable, and this was published in newspapers. This was published in every PDP platform. Sule Lamido is a member of the BOT. He should have gotten that memo. And everybody, and he's a member of NEC. And NEC approved these timelines. So, when people think that destroying the PDP aids another party to get to power, they are actually inadvertently destroying democracy.
All right, Mr. Olainka, you have heard what he has had to say, both on the issue that transpired yesterday and now on the PDP as well. We do know that, the convention for the PDP had been slated way before now. What exactly is the bone of contention? Why doesn't a particular faction within the PDP want this convention to go on as has been planned?
You see, my friend and brothers, what you said about what happened yesterday, I've reacted to that one. It's no longer the issue. But the issue is here. We love to beg major issues. We love to be emotional and sentimental on issues. He has mentioned Justice Omotosho, Justice Lifu. Let me tell Nigerians one thing, that my friend is a lawyer, has not. See, the PDP went to court. You have a case, a case was filed against you. The PDP, the first thing the PDP did was to say that the National Legal Advisor cannot represent the party. In the case, you went to court to say the National Legal Advisor of your party cannot represent you. The constitution of the party, this is the constitution, and I want to read. The role of the National Legal Advisor is to conduct all litigation and prosecute and defend actions on behalf of the party, including its organs and officials, insofar as the subject of the litigation affects the interests of the party. That is the function of the National Legal Advisor. So
that was where the dispute started?
No, you now went to court to say that he cannot represent you. You hire other lawyers. You went to court. The first hearing, lawyers from both sides were almost throwing punches, fighting themselves in court in front of the judge. To the extent that the judge had to adjourn and say, oh, go and put your house in order. They came back. PDP could not put his house in order. For the first time in the history of a judiciary that maybe he's a lawyer, maybe it has happened before. A defendant came to court with two separate legal teams. The legal team brought by the National Legal Advisor and the legal team brought by the national chairman. So the legal team presented two separate defense to the legal team presented two separate defense to the court. If you are a judge, which one will you choose? I am not a lawyer, but I know that in law, when there are two contradictory evidence in front of a expert evidence in front of a judge, the judge is not a Father Christmas. He will not choose the one to pick. Now, you went to court to say that you don't trust your own national legal advisor. That is one. Number two, on the case of Lamido, how are you sure that Lamido did not pay for the form before the expiration before the expiration of the time provided to purchase form? The man could have paid, and you refused to send form to him. If he paid, if purchase of form ends tomorrow, and the man pays today, has he breached any guideline?
Okay. We saw, but I just don't have that statement now, because there was a tweet prior to him saying he was going to go to the national headquarters of the PDP to try and obtain his forms. We presume that it was on that day that he went to go and buy the form.
No. The process is you pay. You now go and collect the form. So
what is the stand now, gentlemen? Do you think this convention should go as planned, or do you think that
they want those who want the convention to go as planned against two judgments, one judgment, one order? My brother has said that, the judge in Ibadan gave a judgment. The judge in Ibadan gave an order, and the
it's impossible
injunction has lifespan 7 days.
It's impossible to vitiate opinions in such short time. I really wish we had more time, but the party took a decision to have its convention. There are people who are working for other interests, and it's not that everybody knows the interest. And I mean, a reconciliation team stand to said person we know that is convention, and he said unless, from what I hear, that unless they agree not to put up a challenge to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a PDP member, and he has said it publicly.
He never said that.
But he has said publicly that he will work. He has said several times. So how then do we now take that person as somebody who really cares about the interest? What do you think someone who is working, who serves under a particular governing party, the PAPC, and then you expect him to take any decision that favors PDP? It's not possible.
Big question, gentlemen. I think that the public will continue to ruminate on that particular matter. We'll see by this weekend if that convention will hold or not. We have to thank you both for coming on the program. Larry Olayinka is a Senior Special Assistant, Publicity and Communications to the Minister of the FCT, and Tony Ahili. That's where we wrap up today's edition of Society. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
And I'm Ayo Makere. Enjoy the rest of your day and a beautiful weekend ahead.